Well,
Cool.
do we want to talk about the second point from the
Second
CNBC?
point from that interview.
Yeah,
Yeah, free speech. What
free
are your
speech.
thoughts?
Oh man. Well, first off, I just I can't appreciate more that we have one of the richest person in the world, um, standing firm on his conviction and not just staying in his ivory tower. Um, and so, just for those that didn't watch the interview, uh, we'll put the clip in real quick.
At all. But what I'm trying even came up though in the annual meeting. I mean, do your tweets hurt the company? Are there Tesla owners who say I don't agree with his political position because, and I know it because he shares so much of it? Or are there advertisers on Twitter that Linda Yaccarino will come and say, you got to stop, man. Or, I can't get these ads because of some of the things you tweet.
I'm reminded of uh, the, there's a scene in The Princess Bride, great movie,
Great movie.
where he confronts the person who killed his father. And he says, offer me money, offer me power. I don't care.
So you just don't care. You want to share what you have to say.
I'll say what I want to say, and if the consequence of that is losing money, so be it.
So I just loved that he just the fact that he even quoted Princess Bride was just epic, right? But yes, the give me money, give me power. I don't care. Like, just yes, it's so
Yeah.
good. Um, I
I'll say what I say, and if the consequence is losing money, then so be it. That I mean, that's a big smackdown, and I think everyone has a large lesson to learn from that. Free speech is, I think, the most fundamental right. It
mhm.
is the right that enables you to have any other right: freedom of expression, freedom to challenge positions of authority without fear of consequence. Those are all that is fundamental to being able to have other rights. Without that, you don't have anything else. So kudos to Elon for not, he's never been the type of guy that, what you would think of a typical CEO, but kudos to him for staying true to his beliefs and for fighting for everyone else's right to speak freely as well.
Yeah.
And encouraging people to speak freely. I think a lot of people these days, especially because the political climate seems to, the left and the right seem to be going further and further away, and um, and yeah, so it's making it harder for people to have conversations because things are becoming so polarized. But um, I totally lost where I was going with that. Where
It
was
was
I going
profound,
with that?
whatever it was.
Hey.
Yeah, I
Really
I
got
will
that.
say, just while you're thinking about it, um, the even the interviewer, he was trying to fish him on the basis of money, but we could translate money personally to just like what our popularity is. Like by saying a thing and speaking what we believe is true, we are putting at risk our popularity, our notoriety, all of those things. And Elon, in his position, obviously has tons of influence, tons of and obviously tons of money, and so that's why he framed the question in that way. But I think we can, like you said, kind of can take away for our own personal selves that if you don't speak the truth, or at least what you know as far as what truth is, um, you are. It's almost an injustice to the world to not have the conversation or to not say the
Mhm.
thing, even if you're wrong. It's worth speaking.
That's exactly where I was going. What I was trying to articulate and didn't do a very good job of is there's so much divisiveness because people are getting so, it seems like the left and the right are getting so far away from each other, and there's so much fear about saying things, and so as a result, we tend to self-censor
Mm,
ourselves because of fear of retaliation or fear of consequence. Or what is my um what are my family members going to think about it? What are my friends going to think about this? I think I've seen more like news stories and articles about people losing friends and just losing relationships because of not being able to have political conversations. um Particularly prevalent on college campuses too. But I think that it's more people should speak their mind, because speaking their mind and not being afraid to be wrong, not
yeah.
being afraid to to be challenged in your worldviews, because that's how we grow. It is through dialogue and through conversing and through the battling of ideas that we discover more things about ourselves, about society, about the world. That is a part of the process. It's not something that should be veered away from. It's something that we should embrace, and that's why free speech is so fundamentally important. But acting on it and actually speaking freely is is just as important too. What's the point of having the right if you don't exercise it?
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, even go towards the Twitter route of what he's done on that platform. Like, he's submitting himself to that same scrutiny on his own platform. And
Absolutely.
and I think what's great about that too is, like, even me, like, if I have enough humility to know that, hey, I might say something that's totally wrong, but I'm going to say what I believe is true, and I'm totally open to being held accountable and being called out and saying, hey, that actually wasn't. And he's creating a platform for those that have that humility to be like, hey, I'm on this journey with all of y'all. This is what I think, and I can be corrected, and
Hmm.
that's great for me because I learn, I grow, and I don't have to stay in my little microcosm of belief and my own vacuum. I can open myself to other perspectives and ideas, and not then also have this risk of being canceled. Um,
Hmm.
it's it's for our mutual benefit, for
Hmm.
all of us to then grow together. Because
Yeah.
if I then know the truth about a thing, that's just a net positive to everybody. If I then live
Hmm.
that out. Um,
Hmm. Community notes, I think, is the most impactful and most profound feature that Twitter has put out. And I would be shocked if companies like Facebook, like Google, any other social media platform didn't institute a similar feature on their platform, because it is inherently good. It is designed to incentivize people to tell the truth. So this feature, it's crowdsourced. It's basically anyone can opt in and become a member of Community Notes, and you can essentially fact check things. If someone tweets something that is misleading or makes a false claim, then people can get together and crowdsource where the truth actually comes from, and provide and tag a note and say, "Hey, this is misleading for XYZ reason."
mhm.
That is incredible. And the fact that Elon and now Linda Yaccarino, the new CEO, are willing to let Community Notes stick a note on an ad and say this ad is misleading, and be okay with losing money from those advertisers because they're putting misleading content out there. It's like, well, why pull your ad from it? Why not just correct the information? It's an easy fix. Just don't mislead people. Don't lie to people. And so I think it's such an awesome feature. I would love to see it implemented into other social media platforms, because it incentivizes the truth, and that benefits everyone.
Yeah.
It benefits everyone, and no one is above it. Elon has been community noted, and he laughed it off. Advertisers have been community noted. The White House gets community noted all the time. It doesn't matter whether you're a government official, whether you're a company that is paying Twitter money. It doesn't matter, because what matters most is the truth.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
love that feature is incentivizing the truth.
Yeah. And it does. It goes back to addressing this problem I think Elon's trying to address is this people over profit. Um, Businesses, their goal isn't to make employees happy. The goal is to make their shareholders money. And
Mhm.
we have just fallen prey. Businesses have fallen prey to that reality over and over again and have sacrificed at that altar the pursuit of truth, the pursuit of doing actually what is right. I'm not, and businesses do the right things, but typically it's under the lens of how can we make more money out of this. And Community Notes is totally anti going after that because it's going to expose untruth and bias. And so I couldn't respect him more for that. And I think that's why when people want to hate on billionaires, the great thing about when you get to a point where you're financially free, if you harness it the right way, like I feel like Elon's doing, you're focusing on the moral issues and focusing on the people rather than how much more money can you put in your pocket.
Yeah, talk about philanthropy. Spending $44 billion to make sure that everyone can speak freely on the platform and have their freedom of speech protected. It is an act of philanthropy in a way, because Twitter was not behaving in a good way. They were censoring people at the instruction of government agencies, political figures, like you name it. You can go and do research on the Twitter files to see exactly what they've exposed. But the bottom line is that censorship was happening, and censorship is not a good thing because freedom of speech is important. So yeah, that gift to humanity platform where where the goal is to incentivize the truth and be entertaining. So what more could you want from the guy, really?
Yeah, that's amazing. And it just saying it out loud, it just seems so obvious. Why would we not pursue that? But I think at the end of the day, it's really greed. That's what it comes down to, and we've fed that beast for far too long. And good on Elon to actually make that call, to actually do what he believes is right. So
yeah, totally agree. I get a little smile on my face every time I see a community note. Get noted, son.